Good afternoon, Father Swink. It is the day after the 27th Sunday of Ordinary Time. I apologize that we didn't have a video, but it's actually great that we didn't, because I want to just talk on one particular point that was spoken about in yesterday's homily. You can find it on the listen page at your own convenience. But our Lord makes this very clear. He says, whoever divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery against her. And what he's reaffirming is, in the beginning, God made marriage to be permanent. And we know that if a person is married in the Catholic Church and they make their vows to one another, that marriage, if the intentions were all there at the moment of the marriage, it's what's called indissoluble. That means it cannot be broken until death do the person part. Now, and which is said in the vows itself. Unfortunately, though, we see in our society and even in the Catholic Church that many people find themselves in a divorce and remarried situation. All right, so what happens in this situation? Well, it's a very tough situation for a lot of people, because usually there's an innocent victim of divorce, and they get lonely, and they decide to get married and outside of the church. Now, truth be told, that situation is adulterous because unless proven otherwise. But what can happen is a person has the right to seek an annulment. So what is an annulment? Annulment is when a person writes basically a 4 to 8 page story about their marriage. And what is looked at is what happened going up to the marriage. And in certain circumstances, if a person there was something missing at the time of the vows, there was wrong intentions, or there was something that was not disclosed that should have been disclosed prior to the vows, there's a possibility that the marriage would not have been valid because of that lack of intention. Okay, an example. One is, let's say for instance, a woman finds out that she was pregnant, and prior to marriage, and they mess up, and they are kind of embarrassed by it, but they don't want anyone to know, and so they make an agreement. We'll go to the church and make this right, and they're not clear to the priest about this, or to their parents, or they're doing it basically to make it right. There is, in a sense, a coercion. They're felt forced into it. If that's the case, in many cases, that would render it invalid. Another example is, say a person was not open to having any children. They had no intention of having children. One of the promises is to have children. So therefore, that would not be a valid marriage. If a person had a very serious addiction or a mental illness, and it wasn't really disclosed until after the vows, and it ended up making the marriage a train wreck, many times, if that could be proven, because of the lack of discretion or the capacity to make those vows, it would also be considered null and void. Anyway, I am going to give a talk on this, and in the weeks to come, and I invite anyone who knows someone in this situation is not able to go to the sacraments because of it, because there's a possibility we can get them back in full communion with the Catholic Church. So I hope this is helpful, but the bottom line is that what God has brought together, no human being was separated. And the point is that annulment's not a Catholic divorce. Basically, it's proving that a marriage was not a sacrament from the beginning.